Welcome back everyone. Today we're just going to get back into a bit of baiting, how to rig up, more specific, how to rig up live baits. A few guys have actually asked me about rigging up live baits for different circumstances. Like everyone knows, basically put through the nose, throw it over the side, yada yada yada. It does seem to work in certain circumstances, but there's a few other ways you can rig up live baits. And what I was going to do today is just show you a couple of different techniques, okay, a couple of different ways. And seeing as I'm at home, I'm not out and about in the water, and sorry about that guys, I can't get out fishing, my car's playing up, I can't tow trailers, big rigmarole, pain in the ass. So once again back in my little room, but instead of using live baits, I'm just going to use pilchards. You'll understand what I'm talking about, but we're just going to use some pilchards, okay, to rig up. Different ways I'm going to show you how to rig up baits. I've talked about some of these before, some I have, some I haven't, but there's one thing I have noticed a lot of people do when they come fishing with me, the way they put the hooks in the bait. And then they wonder why they miss strikes. I'll explain that in a minute too. Okay, first of all, let's start off simple, okay? So, we've got our live bait here. Say this could be a mullet, could be a herring, could be a yakka, slimy, whatever. Whatever part of the world you're in, whatever live baits, this is going to work for everything, all sorts of different live baits, okay? So you got basically your live bait. We go to the stock standard rig. There's two hooks snelled. So we'll start off with the basic, the one most people use, and some don't know about it, but okay, so it's two hooks snelled. And with this one, I still have people putting the hooks around the wrong way. For some reason, like, that's the bottom hook, there's your top hook, and that goes off to your swivel or your leader, your main line. Still have guys, for some reason, with the top hook here, put that through the tail, and the bottom hook through the eye. I've seen this on many occasions, and that all looks good, but throw the live in the water, he pretty much drowns. You're sitting there, the current's going this way, he's trying to swim, yeah, it's a little bit arsed about. I don't know why people are still doing that. Okay, it's going to be a bit hard with the pillies, they're going to fall apart on me. So we'll just basically, when you're fishing with a live bait, you've got snelled hooks, okay, yeah, bottom hook here, your top hook here, this goes off to your rod, okay, your leader up to your swivel sinker's rod. So your bottom hook, usually I just like to put down near the tail, and I just pierce under the skin, like so. Let me get rid of the scales there. Okay, so you can see that one's just pierced under the skin. Usually up a little bit from the tail so he still kicks. And with the top hook, I usually go through the nose, so in one side out the other, through the nose, not through the eye, through the nose. The nose it's just in front of the eyes, you'll see little holes. And it's fairly bony, so usually it holds quite well. And the other reason I bait this way is one hook I've got going through the bait, okay, at one side. This other hook pierced under the skin is the opposite side, so you've got two hooks, you've got one this way and you've got one that way. Now in the water, if you're sitting in a bit of current, okay, his nose is into the current, so he's sitting in the current being pulled this way, the current's going that way, he's just sitting there swimming on quite happily, okay, just sitting there swimming in the current. That's the first way, that's the way most people do it. And probably one of the best ways, or I'm going to say is the best way, in current. You can use a single hook through the nose, and don't worry about a back one. That depends on the species you're chasing. Okay. I generally, with the fish we catch here in Australia and stuff, most of the time we run two hooks, we run a snelled rig. But you don't always have to. Like if you're chasing jewfish and things, you don't have to run snelled hooks, because if they want the live bait, they'll engulf it, they'll take the whole live bait. Okay, you're not going to miss with one hook at the front. Bit snapper and things like that, bit smaller mouths, have trouble swallowing, I like to run a two hook. Okay, so that's the first one, that's back to basics. Okay, and I said the next one, we're just going to go a single hook. Okay, and the hook's going to depend on the size of your baits, from small baits to big baits. So you can run anywhere like a 2-0, 4-0, 6-0, 8-0, 10-0. It depends on the size of your live baits. The bigger the bait, the bigger the hook. Okay, don't think about the fish you're chasing. Just think about the bait. Match the hook to the bait. Okay, if you're running a small herring, put a 2-0 on. If you're running a little bit bigger, like a small yakka or something, maybe put a 4-0 on, or 3-0 or 4-0. If you're running a big fat slimy, put an 8-0 or a 10-0, depending on the size of the bait, okay? Most of the fish will eat all sorts of different live baits. Even small fish will eat big baits. Just match your hooks to the size of your bait, okay? So the next one I'm going to do and talk about, this is one a lot of people don't do and don't know. When I grew up down south chasing jewfish and stuff in rivers, okay, and I see people up here nowadays doing it too, they got a bad habit of hooking their bait under the dorsal fin, okay? I'm going to show you something here, guys. So they're just going to go under the dorsal fin, just lightly under, and that's all good and well if you're fishing in really light current or no current areas. The bait can swim around. But when you're in a high current area, okay, say this line here is going to your sinker, that's on the bottom. The current's going that way, okay? This good little guy's going to be swimming around and he's going to start getting a little bit tired. And all the current's going to do is pull him sideways. He's going to sit sideways and pull him the current sideways. And after a while he'll get a curl in him and all he's going to do is spin, spin, spin. That's no good, he's dead. Okay? So when you're fishing currents, go to the first rig. Put it through the nose so the fish is sitting into the current swimming. Okay? Just go through his nose. You can put one of these down his tail if you want, or just a single one to nose. This rig works really well when it's light current, very light current, or no current. So the fish is free to swim around, just swim around in circles around the sinker. Okay? He's not going to be pulled sideways in current and drowned. But this is the bit I really want to explain. With most of the live bait hooks, so I'm just using octopus. I use octopus for most hooks. Okay, you know, all you guys know what an octopus hook is. Not circle, just octopus. And they're offset. Octopus are offset, so I've got a slight kink to them. What I see a lot of guys doing, missing strikes, and they're not sure why. Is when you put baits on like so, okay, think of it this way. This bait wants to get away from what's pulling him. So not 9 times out of 10, but always he's swimming away from the weight pulling him, the rod's pulling him this way. He's trying to swim away from it. So that will lay the hook down along the back, usually, as he's trying to swim away, right? And with offset hooks, you've got to look at the hook and where it's going. Because at the moment, so I've got the fish here, and I've gone, say, from left through to the right. I don't know if you can notice that or not, but with an offset hook, that hook, when the fish is swimming away, that hook bends down. That hook now, with the offset, is actually offset and coming back into the fish, bent back into the fish. And he's swimming around like that. And if he gets a strike, there's nothing there. It's just gonna, okay? The point of the hook's back in the fish. You're gonna miss strikes every time. Or, yeah, a lot of the time, not every time, but a lot of the time. You've got to really look at your hooks, guys, your offset hooks. If you want to rig this way, think about your offset and which way it's going to go. For this one, I'd go from the right and put it back to the left. Okay, like so. So he's swimming around, now he's going to swim away. Look what happens. The hook lays down, but look where the point is. The point's not going back into the fish, the point's going up away from the fish, sticking out. Okay? That's something I see a lot of guys do when they're fishing with me and missing strikes. I'm not sure why they're missing. Because they're not looking at the offset. The offset's actually bent and it's curving back into the fish. You've got to think about where your bait is and which way the point's going to stick. You want the point sticking out away from the bait, not back in towards the bait. Okay? So there's a little tip. Look at the offset. Look where it's going. See that one? I don't know if you can see that one there or not, but the point's pushing up away. And when I went up the other way, the point was pushing back down into the fish. Okay? So, just remember that offset, which way it's going to go. Is it pointing out away from the bait or back into the bait where you're going to miss strikes? Especially if you're using fillets and things. Just keep that in mind. Okay, and we're back to this live baiting. If you hook through the back like so, or even down near the tail, which is all good, okay, that's all good, but mate, that's for when you're fishing, say, no current or very light current areas. If you're fishing high current, put them through the nose so as fish sit into it and swim. If you want to hook them through the back or the tails or something, make sure there's light current, very light current or no current, so they can swim around freely, alright? And that'll work fine. Okay, so enough of that one. I've got little hooks here everywhere. The next one I was going to do, I talked about this one with fishing fads and dolphin fish. It's also a very good one for like lakes and rivers, or not rivers, but lakes, and even in rivers that like change of tide where there's no current. This is a really good one, and it seems to work well with hookups. Okay, once again our little bait fish here, single hook, but this time I'm going to go through the tail. Okay, and we're going to think about the offset here. We're going through the tail, we're going to go up here through the bottom. Okay, once again the fish is going to pull, and he's going to pull away from the line, so the line's going to be coming back to your rod this way, so he's going to be holding the hook that way. Think about your offset here. Because I'm going underneath now, not the top, if I go through the offset and it sits like so, think the point's going to actually come back up towards the fish. So now this time we want to start at the left side and go through the right, like so. Because now when the line's pulling that way, that hook is pointing down and it's pointing away from the fish. Okay, and when I hook baits right underneath here, underneath the tail, right in the bottom of the tail here, is basically, once again, no current areas. Mainly for no current areas, but I'll explain the fads in a minute. The reason for this, I chase dewies this way in rivers and stuff, or I used to years ago, when there's no currents or over tide change. Put a hook there. This will come down to your sinker will be sitting on the bottom. The bait will be trying to swim away from your sinker. He's just quite happily swimming like this. You've got to keep him off the bottom. Like he's trying to pull away from the weight. He wants to get away from the weight pulling him backwards. So he's going to be swimming. The sinker's here on the bottom. This bait fish is going to be up in the water column a little bit, like a metre or so, or half a metre, whatever your leader length is, and just swim around quite happily off the bottom, just off the bottom. Okay, no restriction, no tides pulling him or anything else. The only reason you can't use this in current is once the tide starts running, his tails is going to bend, he's going to get tired, his tail's going to bend, and this is going to spin in the water and drown. Okay, so this works very well when there's no current or in lakes or something. Okay, I have shown people and told people to use this rig out offshore when you're fishing around fads for dolphin fish. And usually when you're chasing dolphin fish around fads, it is high current area. But the whole idea of this is it gets the bait looking a lot more natural. Okay, so when you pierce them like this, you drop them over the back of the boat and you free spool them. You just let the bait go. There's no restriction. Don't hold it back, don't put your thumb in the spool, just let the bait go. And when you hook him here, he'll swim more naturally than the other way. If you've got a hook in the back, he sort of looks a bit funny in the water. If you got him through the nose, he can't swim properly at all because he's trying to pull away from you. He's pulling his head back and dragging the line. It's not natural. But if you hook him just under the tail here and then free spool and let him go, that looks very natural when it's swimming down past the fads. And at a lot of time, you'll actually hook dolphin fish. Okay, using this method. When other guys around you, I've got them hooked through the back or through the nose, they're not sitting quite right. They're not swimming right, and the dolphin fish at the fads get hit really, really hard. So they're very, very picky on the baits they use. So when you do this and you absolutely free spool, or I mean completely free spool, let him go, he'll look naturally and he'll swim down past it, and he'll get hit more often than the guys around you. Okay? Well, a lot of guys thank me for that tip because they've gone out and they caught a lot of dolphin fish, pulled them out from underneath other people's boats. Okay? The only downside to this one is if it doesn't get hit, then you've got to pull them backwards through the water. And once again, the tails bend and they'll twist, and they're a little bit hard to pull back in. And you'll probably kill the bait fish doing that too. So have quite a few of them if you're going to do that. Okay, and just be prepared, if it doesn't get hit, you've got to pull it back in, and it can be quite hard. Oh, making a good mess here. Okay. So basically that's a couple of different ways to bait fish. Hook underneath, hook at the top, hook in the mouth, I mean through the nose. The other way is too, when you hook through the mouth, a lot of people don't like hooking through the nose. They keep on telling you it comes out when you break the bone. It can at times, I suppose. So the other way to do it too is to go from underneath, like so, and up through the top. But don't do top and bottom jaw, don't go from the bottom up, because you'll pin the mouth shut and the fish will drown after a while. What we do is open the fish's mouth and just do it through the top jaw, just through the top jaw, that jaw, okay, through the top jaw, like so. Just pin him through the top bit and out between near the eyes there and the bony part of the head, and have him that way. He'll swim for hours like that, he's fine. His bottom jaw can still open and close, just can't close completely, but he won't drown, he's fine. Okay, so if you're going to go through the mouth, just do the top jaw, not both, not top and bottom. Okay, now we're going to leave the last one, the special one. This is a special one for last. A few of you guys are going to look at me and say, that's nothing special, we know about this rig. But what I'm going to show you here, probably not. It's a little bit different. Okay, so we've all seen this rig. It's been around for years and years and years. It's mainly people use it for mackerel. Okay, so we've got just a inline hook at the top, inline J hook at the top. That's inline, so it's not offset. It's a straight inline, and on the back we have a treble. That's the difference with this one is this one's made of mono. We're not using this one for mackerel. We all know how to make this out of wire for mackerel and trolling baits for mackerel. But no one does, or a handful of people do now, but not many. If you make this rig out of mono and tow it on a downrigger around reefs over like winter and stuff down south for chasing snapper, jews and cobes, it does work. I'm up here in the Great Barrier Reef. I'm pretty sure if I put this on a live bait and a downrigger out here and troll it around, I'm going to hook all sorts of critters. Same sort of rig, just make it out of mono. So the top hook now is snelled on, and you got your treble in the back. If you haven't got a downrigger or anything, it's the same deal as when you're mackerel fishing. Put a small bean sinker here, a small ball sinker on the front, just so when you're trolling around it, just in idle, you got a little bit of weight here on his nose, and that'll be enough to keep him under the water and swimming, not skipping on the surface. You want him under the water and swimming. Put a small ball here. But this is one thing I want you to do, guys. This is one thing I see people doing, and you don't need to do it. Okay, let's rig up a bait. So we've got one here. Got my inline hook. We're going to go through the nose. This is always rigged through the nose of this one. Okay, so we've got through the nose, just like so. A lot of people will take this treble and put it in the fish. Like so, and there's your bait. But when you're trolling with these things and your little bait's kicking like mad and carrying on, that treble falls out all the time. And now you just got an injured bait fish with a hole and leaking a little bit of blood and probably going to die soon, so you can put more holes in him. I don't want you to put the treble in. I just want you to put the main hook in the front, and this goes for the mackerel rig too, guys. The mackerel one is exactly the same. Put your inline hook in the front. The reason you want an inline hook so it doesn't twist in the water, your offset can make your bait fish twist. So you want an inline hook, it won't twist. Okay, pierce him through the nose, put him over the side, and when you start trolling this little guy, okay, that treble is just going to be down the back of the fish here. It's not going to be dangling down under the fish while you're trolling. When you're trolling, it's not going to be there. It's going to come up here in the current and sit just under the fish. So this little guy is going to be quite happy being pulled along by his nose, or happier without another hook in his rear end. He's getting pulled along by his nose, and this treble is just going to be dangling here at the back, and that's where you're going to get most of your fish on. They won't miss that treble, guys. They'll come up from underneath and sideways, they'll hit that treble. It doesn't need to be piercing the fish, even mackerel fishing. Don't worry about piercing it in, because it's still sitting there while you're trolling along. It's been dragged along as well, okay? Okay, so that's another good one, and this will work on a lot of reef species. You can even use it out wider and stuff, slow trolling around if you see tuna schools. Put a yakka or a slimy out, pierce him through the nose, throw him off the back of the boat. Don't worry about the treble, and tow him on mono, not wire, on mono, slow trolling around. You'd be surprised how many tuna and stuff you'd catch doing this too, and just let the treble just do its things instead of drag behind. Just make sure when you rig them up that the treble doesn't sit out the back of the fish, doesn't sit too far forward. It sits down near the tail, okay, so it's down near the tail. Because a lot of the fish, especially wahoo and stuff, will come up and chop your tails off, mackerel, so you want them down near the tail end. Okay, well, that's about it. All I want to do is to show you guys a few different ways to rig up some live baits for different currents, 4 currents, high currents, no current, and even a bit of slow trolling using that rig. But once again, no wire, just mono, and you'd be surprised on what you'll actually catch on that thing. Slow trolling around over winter time, summer, depending on where you are in the world. And don't put the treble in the fish, leave it alone. It'll still sit up behind the back of the fish as you're slow trolling. Anyway, enough yakking on about that one, guys. hopefully soon the car will be fixed. I've taken that many mechanics, I just want to strangle them. They can't seem to get a handle on it. It's booked in for next week. Hopefully they'll figure it out this time and I'll be able to tow the new trailer and boat and start heading out fishing. But I'm still going to sit here and do a few of these videos in between the fishing trips because I know you guys like them. And yeah, if you like all the videos and stuff I'm doing lately, give me a thumbs up. It really does help the channel. And I'll see you again soon, guys. Thanks for watching.